We are back on MorningLine. Thanks for joining us. It's Child Abuse Prevention Month. With us this morning, talking about it, taking your phone calls about some of the very latest out there and what's happening, is Jill Howlett with Our Kids. Pleasure to have her on. And Rob Kerrigan, he's with the Metro Sex Crimes Unit, Internet Crimes Against Children, working this, and it's a constantly evolving thing that you handle because technology just keeps changing. Let's take a call from Ray. Ray, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Ray. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, just a child sex abuse prevention month. Let's take off Ray. Good morning.
What do you want to say about it, Ray?
Good morning.
Yeah, just talk on the phone because there's a little 7-second delay there.
Okay, every month should be Child Prevention Month. Not only this month, but every month.
That's right. Well, listen, I agree with you. I guess many causes and issues have months to maybe make it so that we can highlight it. It gets the media, but he's right.
It is. We, at Our Kids, we evaluate around 800 children a year in all of Middle Tennessee, which makes us one of the largest clinics of our kind in the country.
If you would explain for folks just who aren't familiar, when you say evaluate, what Our Kids does,
sure,
which is a wonderful thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Our Kids is a medical clinic, an outpatient medical clinic of General Hospital in Nashville, and we are a team of 4 social workers and 4 nurse practitioners who do forensic medical evaluations of children when there are concerns of sexual abuse.
Meaning these children come to you, the alleged victims here, and
exactly, and they receive a thorough medical evaluation, and we spend a lot of time talking to their families because it doesn't just affect the children; it affects families. It affects any caregiver of that child who loves that child, and we spend a lot of time with them, helping them determine what the next steps are going to be. And we want to spend as much time as we need to. We spend about 2.5 hours with each family that we see. So it's not just a pediatric visit. It's
sure.
It's a thorough evaluation.
And do you work in conjunction with law enforcement?
We do. We work with them. We work with the Department of Children's Services
right.
as well, in helping just complete their investigation. We don't necessarily work with them, but a lot of times they will refer children to us, and so we want to help them in their investigation as much as we can.
All right, let's take a call from Greg. Hi, Greg.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hey, I agree with the last caller completely, but I just, situations like this, as far as, it's this terrible thing, all that kind of stuff, but authority always takes things to a way farther exaggerated limit to where it should never go to. Like now, I go to the gym and I talk to some of the young kids there at the gym, and they're almost dating online. Almost everything they do is Facebook, online. Where's the line to where you're going to say that's actual abuse, or that's too far to go, or not too far to go? You see, my point is that it's going to be abused by authorities, and it's going to be abused by authorities. That's what they do. They always take something that's a terrible issue, and they take it way beyond where it needs to go. So you have all these young kids that are in jail or on the sexual predator list or whatever the list is, that was just calling a girlfriend up or Facebooking back and forth with a girlfriend just to have a date.
Well, let's see. I'll let Rob answer that. I mean, this is a caller who, sometimes is suspicious of authority going too far. But can you kind of give him a definition of how it is you'll perhaps go after something? And because you're not going after young people that are suggesting going on a date, correct?
No, they.
And they can even maybe be a little racy in their conversation, can they not? Between email texts between each other, or however they communicate, between...
I would say, is there ever a good time for a 25-year-old to be contacting a 15-year-old and sending sexual messages to them?
Right. But between 2 25-years-olds?
No, that's no crime.
What about between 2 16-year-olds?
As long as there's no images that are being solicited or exchanged that are nude images. Because regardless whether they're minors or not, if they're exchanging nude images of one another, they're in possession of child pornography and they're distributing child pornography. And whatever they send out is likely not to stop at the person they send it to. It's going to get redistributed and kind of finger out. That's our focus. If it's a 16-year-old having a sexual toned conversation with another 16-year-old, that's not necessarily a crime. We're targeting the adults who are specifically looking for minors. There's a few crimes we may charge in juvenile court if there's, but most of those are the redistributing of images.
Right.
That's the issues that we're trying to get at, because a girl sends her picture to a boyfriend. That's initial. Now, yes, it's a crime, but the larger crime there is once it gets redistributed and that picture gets beyond their control, it gets out on the internet, it's difficult to ever get that back, and it fingers out, and by the end of the day, 200 people have that image. Those, the person that's resending it is the ones that we're typically targeting for prosecution in those cases. That's not to say we won't prosecute the first person that sends it out, but typically our focus is that secondary dissemination of it.
Yeah, I think that's, I'm so glad you made that point. I want parents to know if they're watching, and because I became aware of it. So, what should my son do if out of the blue one of his buddies sends a picture like what you just said that he got from someone else, and he looks and he has a naked photograph on there of one of his classmates? I know what I've told him to do, but tell me, what should he do when he gets that?
Well, he needs to don't delete it, because we may need.
Which is most impulse for these people who see this and they're upset by it. Are going to, I'm getting rid of that, right?
Yeah.
Don't erase it, and then what?
Well, if they still have it, we may need to get some data off of that image, or figure out where exactly it was sent from. We'll try to trace that path back to the original sender, whoever originally posted it. And if we can identify the victim in that image, we'll certainly try to find that person, and if need be, to follow up on any kind of interviews or potentially sex exams with that person if there was some abuse going on. But they need to report that to a parent. They can report it to the most of Metro schools have a SRO there on site. They report it to that. Teachers, principals, just a trusted adult that will get that to the authorities and let us follow up on it.
Yeah, it's odd when you think about it. Like, I didn't ask for this, I've got this, I'm going to get rid of it. But don't. You have to move it, because the bottom line is, even if they do delete it, at some point, if you make contact with the individual who originated the message, you can track everywhere that person sent it. And you're going to realize it came to this guy. Where's the picture? How come you don't have it? And then that would be tampering with evidence if they deleted it, correct?
Potentially.
Okay, and I'm not saying you're prosecuting all these kids for all that kind of thing. The bottom line is you want to get to the heart of it, right?
Yes.
And where it started. It's just interesting to think about this kind of stuff. Let's go to Lucy. Hi, Lucy.
Good morning, y'all. Appreciate you having this show. I've got 3 quick things, 2 statements, and then I got a question for the officer. The first thing is, it's my opinion and been my experience as a little girl, that I don't even like calling these people perverts, these sexual predators. I don't think they can be fixed. I think using this as a quote-unquote sickness is an excuse myself. I just don't think they can be fixed. Secondly, child abuse, I'm a lucky person. I'm a very lucky person. I've had to walk through 2 gauntlets as a child, and I was fortunate enough to have a great father up until the age of reason, 8 years of age. So he pretty much got my mind straightened out. So I was lucky. A lot of little girls in my neighborhood said they, quote unquote, got caught. I never got caught by the sexual predators. But likewise, child abuse sometimes is very mental and very abusive that way, and a lot of people don't realize that when you're abused by a parent, a lot of kids identify with the abuser and it's kind of hidden. With that being said, a kid that I related to a lot in the news that broke my heart, that will always have my heart, and I want to remember him today, as a kid called Josh Osborne, and I'll never forget him.
Sure. Oh, well, yeah. Josh was a good friend of mine, and we did those stories. That was physical abuse. I don't know if you remember that case. Josh, who passed away recently, well, not recently, last year, but he was chained to a bed and forced to live in some really dire circumstances, and then was rescued and became a real spokesperson for abuse. And the thing that she brought up, and you talked about, you spend a lot of time with family members when you bring them in, but a lot of times, aren't the offenders the family members?
Most of the time they are.
Which, I mean, Josh's parents were involved with that.
Sure.
You know?
Even if they're not a family member, they're known to the family. Most of the time, they're known to the family. It's very rare to have a stranger sexually abuse a child. It certainly happens, but it's very rare to have that happen. Most of the time, probably around 90%, 85 or 90% of the cases, they're known very well to the family. The family trust this person. They and many times love this person and would trust them with the caretaking responsibilities of their children. And that's when these people do what they do, and they're good at what they do, and they learn ways around getting alone time with a child, or just taking advantage of a child in that way.
Maybe because they have everyone else's trust.
Sure.
At that point.
Sure.
Or sometimes, and we can talk about this, we have to go to a break. You have a situation maybe where someone else is aware of it and chooses to look the other way. Which is a crime too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That does
that's
happen.
One of those, people don't want to get involved, and sometimes if you choose not to get involved and just walk away, maybe with some crimes, that's fine if you don't want to be helpful. But when it comes to abuse of a child, it's a crime if you know about it and you don't report it. We'll take a break on that note. This is kind of a long break, so we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll open up the phone lines some more, continue our conversation. As you see on the screen, Child Abuse Prevention Month. More on that right after this. Stay with us.